demonstrate an air brake test on the school bus, and after that I'm going to make another video and we're going to do the pre-trip inspection so that you can watch it over and over and learn at home when you're not able to be with me. So the first thing that we're going to do is the air brake test, and we're going to make sure that our wheels are chalked. We chalk the front wheels. That's acceptable to our MVA in Elkton. So the wheels are chalked and we're going to get on the bus. First thing we're going to do always is put on our seatbelt. We're going to start the bus up. This is a propane, so it does take a minute to start. It does start on its own. Once the bus starts, we're going to let our air pressure build to between 120 and 140 psi. You can see in the indicators here where it's building. You can give it a little bit of gas to speed up the process. Propanes are a little bit slower at building up the air pressure than a diesel. So once it has reached maximum pressure, you'll hear the governor cut out and you'll hear like a hiss sound, psh, and that means that it's full. It's pretty close to being full right now, but I am going to give it some gas so that it does fill up. Sometimes it takes a while. The air brake test is very important that you do it exactly right. One mistake and you will fail. You must pass the air brake test in order to go on to the next part of the test for the pre-trip. If you fail, they will send you home and you have to come back another day. So I'm going to press the brake in just to amplify it a little bit. Sometimes that helps speed it up. It's building. Okay, there it is. So that's the governor cut out. That means our air tanks are full. So the very first thing that you're going to do on your air brake test is you're going to turn the bus off, one click, and your key will be able to come out. You're going to go back on, one click, you're going to hear the buzzer, and then you're going to push in the air brake. Okay? Our wheels are chalked, so we're not going to move. We're going to let everything settle, and we're going to make sure that we're not going to lose any more than 3 pounds of pressure in 1 minute. I'm going to be timed, and you're going to ask your instructor to please time you. I highly recommend that if they agree to time you, fine. If not, you need to count in your own head so that you don't go less than 60 seconds. So I'm going to press in the brake, and we're going to count to 60. They're going to time me, go ahead, and we're going to hold it down for 1 minute to make sure that we don't lose any more than 3 pounds of pressure in that minute. A little bit dusty there. It's holding steady. Okay. So we're just counting down the minute. How much longer do we have?
35.
35 seconds. Now, once our minute's up and we did not lose any more than 3 pounds of pressure, we're going to begin to fan the brake, and we're going to fan the brake until we get to about 60 psi. Once we reach 60 psi, our warning lights and buzzers will sound. And at that point, we will let our instructor know that we have low air pressure. We're going to continue to fan, and at 30 psi, our parking brake will pop out. So we just want to kind of explain to them what we're going to do during this 1 minute. Maybe that kind of helps too with not having silence. Okay, so our minute's up. We're going to begin to fan the brake. And when we get to 60, our warning lights and buzzers will go off. There it is. There's our low pressure indicator. We're going to continue to fan to 30. And at 30 pounds, our parking brake will pop out. There it is. Now we're going to start the bus back up. And we're going to build our air pressure back up to between 120 and 140 psi. And that will conclude our air brake test. So I'll go ahead and show you that when this gets to 60 psi, the warning lights and buzzers will shut off. But we want to make sure that we build our pressure back up, because when we do our next brake check, we're going to need full air pressure. So our air pressure indicator, low air pressure indicator, has gone off, and now we're gonna stop the video, and that concludes your air brake test, and you can tune into the next video for the pre-trip inspection. Hi there, I'm Keisha. I'm with MarsHall and Hall Bus Companies in Cecil County, Maryland. Today I'm going to demonstrate the pre-trip inspection for a school bus. This will be a Class B CDL with a passenger, school bus, and air brake endorsement. So if you have not watched our previous video with the air brake test, I highly recommend watching that over and over and over until you memorize it, because it's very important. If you do not pass that, they'll send you home and you'll have to come back another day. At our MVA in Elkton, that's the only MVA that we deal with, they hand us a pre-trip inspection checklist so that we can use this to check off everything that we do throughout the pre-trip inspection. You're allowed to have this and a pencil, and you're not allowed to have any other markings on the paper. Previously we did our pre-trip our air brake test, and we successfully completed that, so I'm going to check that off. I also want to make sure to tell you that our wheels are chalked. You're always going to want to make sure that your wheels are chalked, and that you put on your seatbelt. You're going to take it on and put it off a lot, and sometimes you can make a joke out of it and they'll tell you you don't need your seatbelt. Usually that's the case. So the next thing on our checklist for our in-vehicle is our parking brake check. So what we're going to do is, for this, we don't actually demonstrate this. We only tell them what we're going to do. So at the bus lot, we would put our vehicle in drive with our parking, or with our service brake pushed in. We're going to put it in drive, and our air brake will be off. We're going to pull forward at about 5 miles per hour, and we're going to make sure that when we apply the service brake, the vehicle comes to a complete stop. We're also going to make sure that the bus doesn't move to pull to the left or to the right, which would indicate some sort of problem. So that you can also do that in reverse at the bus lot, and that would conclude your service brake check. You just need to explain it. You do not need to perform that there. They don't want you moving the vehicle until it's time and they trust you. So we can go ahead and check that off. So our parking, I'm sorry, that was the service brake check. You can also do that while your air pressure is building from your air brake test, just to kind of pass a little bit of time, because you are timed for 45 minutes to do this test. So you want to make sure that you use your time wisely. The next is the parking brake check, and you actually will demonstrate this. So I'm going to set my checklist over here. Your parking brake check, what you'll do is you'll push your service brake in, you'll put the vehicle in drive, and you'll give it a little bit of gas, and it doesn't move. You're going to put it in reverse, give it a little gas, it doesn't move. That concludes your parking brake check. So I'm going to check that off. So that concludes all of our brake checks. The next thing we're going to do is our lighting indicators. And I like to start from the left to the right. Bless you. And on this particular bus, every bus is possibly equipped with something different. So I'm going to go over what we do on this bus for each item. So lighting indicators, the first thing I'm going to start with is a strobe light. That indicator is on and working. I'm going to move up to my interior lights, my student lights, and my dome lights. They are all working, and you just turn them off, and that's it for that. So all of my interior lights are working. I'm going to turn on my headlights, and my dashboard is lighting. I'm going to turn on my high beams. My high beam indicator is on and working. I'm going to turn on my right turn signal. It is on and working. My left turn signal is on and working. and my hazards are on and working. You also want to mention the ABS light. You cannot see it currently. You have to check that when the bus gets turned on, and just let them know that you did check and the ABS light illuminated when you started the bus. So that concludes your lighting indicators. The next thing we're going to do is our emergency equipment, and the emergency equipment on this bus is located in the overhead compartment. You're going to stand up and you're going to open the overhead compartment. The spring will hold the door up. So the first thing that you want to talk about is your fire extinguisher. My fire extinguisher is securely mounted. It's properly rated for this vehicle. It's in the positive charge, and it's secure. I'm going to check my first aid and my body fluid cleanup kits. They are securely mounted and fully stocked. I'm going to check to make sure I have my spare fuses. They are here, and they're securely mounted. These are my 3 reflective triangles. They're securely mounted and they are in proper working order. I'm also going to check under my seat for my 3 flares. They are securely mounted under the seat, and they are not expired. They're in working order, and all 3 are there. So that concludes all of my emergency equipment. Now also on that, I just did the body fluid cleanup kit and the first aid kit, and that's on down, so you can check that off if you want to do that. That's under school bus only. So the next thing we're going to do, we're going to close this back up, and we're going to move to our windshield and our traffic monitoring devices. So I'm going to check to make sure that my windshield is clean, not cracked or broken. There are no stickers or placards to obstruct my view, and it's not damaged in any way. My traffic monitoring devices, that's just a fancy term for your mirrors. So I'm going to check both mirrors on each side of the bus. I'm going to check my convex mirrors and my flat mirrors. They are clean, not cracked or broken. They're securely mounted, and there's no stickers or placards to obstruct my view, and they are adjusted to me. I'm going to check my crossover mirrors in the front of the bus. They're clean, not cracked or broken. They're securely mounted. There's no stickers or placards to obstruct my view, and they are adjusted for me. I'm going to check my overhead mirror. It's clean, not cracked or broken. It's securely mounted. There's no stickers or placards to obstruct my view. I can see my students can see me, and it's adjusted for me. That concludes the windshield and traffic monitoring devices. Windshield wipers and washers. I'm going to check to make sure that my windshield wipers work. They're on and working. My washer fluid is on and working. My windshield wipers are securely mounted to the bus. They're not missing any screws or bolts. The blade is firm, and it is working. So that concludes my windshield wipers and my washers. My heater. My heater on this bus is just one button. My heater is on and working, and my defroster is on and working. It's very simple for those. My horn, beep beep, it's on and working. Okay, so that concludes the first section. I'm going to close the door. Hit that button there, and we're going to close the door. The next section is my passenger entry and lift. This bus is not equipped with a lift. You want to tell your instructor it's not equipped with a lift, and so we don't have to check that. For the service door, we're going to open the door. I can let the instructor know that the door opens and closes properly. If the door opens properly, the glass is not cracked or broken. There's no stickers or placards to obstruct my view. The hinges are not binding, and the door shuts properly. The other thing you want to mention while the door is open is this light here. My light, my stairwell light is clean, not cracked or broken. It's not missing any screws. It's clear in color, and it's working. The next thing you want to talk about is your stairwell. You want to indicate that your stairwell is free of debris. Your step tread is securely mounted, and there's no tripping hazards. Your handrail is securely mounted. It's not missing any bolts or screws. So now I'm going to check off my passenger entry and lift. Next, we're going to move to our emergency exits. In this, I'm going to demonstrate that the emergency hatch is open. If it's not open, you have to open it. The handle turns properly. My alarm is sounding. It opens properly. It closes properly. The alarm turns off, and that is working. I'm going to check the other hatch just as I have checked this one. I just tell them that. I don't actually have to check it twice. Check both of them. I'm going to check my 4 emergency window exits. I'm going to lift the handle, make sure that the alarm is sounding, the door swings out properly, it latches properly, and my alarm is turned off. I'm going to check all 4 of the emergency exit windows the same as I checked that one. I'm going to come back and I'm going to open up my emergency rear door. I'm going to lift the handle, listen for the alarm, it's working. I'm going to open the door, make sure it swings properly, close the door, relatch it, and the alarm does turn off. The next thing is I'm going to check all of my seats. I'm going to check to make sure that my seats are not damaged. They're securely mounted. They're mounted securely to the frame, and the frame is securely mounted to the floor. It's not missing any screws or bolts. I'm going to check all the seats the same as I've just checked this one. You need to make sure that you say that. I'm next going to check my student monitoring devices. These are the cameras. This bus is equipped with several cameras. I'm going to check all of them the same. They are securely mounted. They're not missing any screws. They're clean, not cracked or broken, and they are working properly. We don't actually know that they're working properly, but that doesn't matter. You just tell the instructor that you're going to check all of the cameras the same on the inside of the bus and that they are working properly. There's another one here, another one here, another one here, and another one here. Okay? So those are your emergency exits, your passenger seating, and your passenger monitoring devices. Okay, the next section is for the school bus only, and this is your lights. That's going to be this section right here. So I'm going to turn on my masters. My indicator is on and working. I'm going to turn on my ambers. My indicator light is on and working. I can see in the front of the bus in my crossover mirrors that my amber lights are working. Now I have to go to the back of the bus, open the door, hang out the back, and check to make sure that my ambers in the back of the bus are working. So I'm going to open the door, look outside, and they're working. Now, I would also tell them that I would need help. Are they willing to help me? Will you please help me? I would need help in the back of the bus checking my backup lights and my brake lights, because I can't check those myself. They will likely not get out to help you, but you just need to say that. So will you please help me with my backup lights and my brake lights, because I can't check them by myself. Okay, so my amber lights are working. Next, I'm going to open the door. And when I open the door, that automatically activates all of my red student lights. I can see over here in my mirror that my stop sign is out and working. I can see that my reds are flashing in the front of the bus and they're working. And I can also see in my crossover mirrors that my stop arm is out and working. Now we're going to go outside and we're going to check them on the outside. Okay, I can see that my amber clearance lights are working, my red student lights are working, my headlights are working, and my stop arm is out and working. It's also securely mounted and there's no wires or anything hanging. My stop sign is out and working on both sides. It's securely mounted, not missing any screws. I can see on the top of the bus that my clearance lights are working. The next thing that I would want to check is my running lights. They are working. My signals, they're working. On the back of the bus, I can see that my strobe light, which is really hard to see, but my strobe light is working. My red clearance lights are working. My red student lights are working. All of my tail lights are working. My tail lights, my running lights are working, and my tag light is working. I can see, it's very hard to see, but the clearance lights are working. My side to get back on the bus. You don't have to get back on the bus. I'm going to turn off my masters, and I'm going to turn on my high beams and my hazard lights. Turn off my master. I'm not sure, I think I might have said hazard. Turn off the masters. Now we're going to walk around the bus and make sure that the next set of lights are working. So my hazard lights are working, my brights, my high beams are working. My hazard lights on this side are working. Signal is on and working in the front. My right turn signal is on and working on the side. And my right turn signal is on and working in the rear. Now we're going to get back on the bus at this point, and we're going to shut the door first. We're going to shut the door, and then we're going to turn the bus off. I'm going to shut the door. I'm going to turn off my headlights, I'm going to turn off my blinker, and I'm going to turn off the bus and take the key. Now, you're going to want to explain to the instructor that at this point you're going to go back and you're going to deactivate your child's safety alarm. In the state of Maryland, it's required, actually federally it's required, that all school buses are equipped with a child safety alarm. And that's to check to make sure that every driver on every bus after every school bus run checks to make sure there's no sleeping or hiding children. So you're going to push the button. The alarm will sound on this particular bus. They're different on all buses. And that will indicate that I have successfully disengaged my child safety alarm. If you don't do that and you open the door, the alarm will sound, and it's a crazy train. So we're going to open the door and we're going to go outside now. So now we've done all of our school bus student lights, front and back, our stop arm, and we did all of our external lights. Now we're going to do all of our lenses. Okay, for this section, I'm going to let the instructor know that I'm going to check the front of the bus all the same. I'm going to check all the lenses on the entire front of the bus exactly the same. I'm going to check to make sure that they're clean, not cracked or broken, that they're not missing any screws, that they are securely mounted, and that they're the right color. There's 4 things you need to be checking for. I'm going to check all of them the exact same. Now what you need to do is tell them let them know that they're the right color. So my clearance lights are amber, my student lights are red on the outside, amber on the inside. My school bus reflective tape is secure and not peeling. My signals are amber in color. My headlights are clear. I'm going to check the side of the bus, just like I checked the front. I'm going to check to make sure that all the lenses on the side of the bus are clean, not cracked or broken. They're securely mounted, they're not missing any screws, and they're the right color. So my clearance lights on the top of the bus are amber in front of the back tire, and they're red behind the back tire. I'm going to check to make sure that my signals and my running lights are amber in color. I'm going to check to make sure that my stop sign is red. I'm going to check to make sure that my reflector in front of the back tires are amber and they're secure and not peeling. And behind the back tires, they are red and secure and not peeling. My school bus reflective tape is secure and not peeling. This seems monotonous, but you have to do all of this. On the back of the bus, I'm going to do the same thing that I did on the front and the side. I'm going to check all of the lenses to make sure that they're clean, not cracked or broken. They're securely mounted, they're not missing any screws, and they're the right color. My strobe light is clear. My clearance lights are red. My student lights are red on the outside, amber on the inside. My school bus reflective tape is secure and not peeling. My signals are amber in color. My brake lights are red. My backup lights are clear, and my tail lights are red. My reflectors in the rear are red in color, and they're secure and not peeling. And my tag lights are clear. Now you can say, on this one, I checked this side the same as I would check the other side, and you don't have to do this again. On the lights, when you're checking to make sure that they're working, you do have to check this side. But when you're just checking the lenses on this side and the bus is no longer running, you would tell them that you would check this side just as you check that side. Okay, so that's all of our exterior lenses. I'm also going to let them know at this point that I'm going to check my traffic monitoring devices to make sure that they're securely mounted and they're not missing any bolts or screws. And we also let them know inside that they are clean, not cracked or broken, no stickers or placards, and they're adjusted for me. I'm going to open the hood at this point. These hoods will catch, and there's a safety latch to make sure that it doesn't fall down on you. Okay, so at this point we're going to be checking our fluid levels. We're going to check 5 fluids on this school bus. The first that we're going to check is our windshield washer fluid and our coolant reservoirs. We're going to make sure that both of these items are securely mounted to the bus. They are not missing any bolts. Their caps are on secure. They are not leaking. All the hoses are securely mounted at the connections. There's no bubbles, cracks, or abrasions. They're not leaking. And I would add fluid to both of these as needed. My coolant, I want to make sure that I never open this when it's hot because it will explode. So that's your first 2 fluids. The second and the next section is going to be our engine oil and our transmission fluid. You do not have to pull the dipstick out, but you're going to explain to them that you would pull the dipsticks out, wipe them clean, stick them back in, pull them back out, take a reading, and add fluid if necessary. Your engine oil, the school bus needs to be off and on level ground, and your transmission fluid, to check that, you would need to make sure that the bus is running on level ground. And the transmission fluid and oil are not leaking. Okay, so then we're going to walk around to the other side of the bus because the power steering reservoir is on this side, and that's included in the fluids. So this is our power steering reservoir. It's securely mounted. It's not missing any bolts or screws. The cap is on securely. I can take a visual check or do a dipstick check on this. I will pull the dipstick out, put it back in, wipe it clean, pull it back out, and take a reading, and I would add fluid if necessary for that. Okay, so those are all of our. Okay, so we just finished with our 5 fluid levels. The next thing on the list is fluid and air leaks. This bus is not equipped with airbags, and that's actually another section down here, but that's important to let them know. I'm going to check all of my hoses on this bus to make sure that there's no leaks, all the connections are secure, that the hoses are not no bubbles, cuts, or abrasions, and that there's no leaking. On anything on this bus that has air, grease, or fluid, it can leak. So you need to look, listen, and smell always, and make sure that you're covering all of your different leak areas. Look under the bus and make sure that there's no puddles and that there's just nothing visibly leaking. So that's going to cover your fluid and air leaks. The next thing we're going to talk about is our steering system. And the first thing is going to be our steering rod. I like to put all these together and then describe it at the end. So we're going to take a look at our steering rod, our U-joints. We're going to talk about our power steering box, our pitman arm, our drag link, our cotter pins. There's 3 cotter pins there, and then a tie rod. My steering rod is straight. It's not bent, cracked, or broken. the same with my U-joints, that they are they're securely mounted, not missing any bolts. My power steering box is not leaking, not missing any nuts or bolts. It's securely mounted to the bus. All the hoses are connected and not leaking, securely mounted there. My pitman arm and my drag link are not bent, cracked, or broken. They're securely mounted to the bus, not missing any bolts. All of my cotter pins are in place, and my tie rod is straight and not bent, cracked, or broken. Okay, so that is our steering system. The next thing is we're going to go back to the other side of the bus, and we're going to do our suspension. I'm going to check my spring hanger, my leaf springs, my U-bolts, and my shock absorber. I'm going to check to make sure that that nothing is bent, cracked, or broken. It's not nothing's missing any bolts. Nothing is loose. Everything is securely mounted to the bus. I want to make sure that I indicate that my leaf springs are they're straight and they're not misaligned or have not shifted, and my shock absorber is not leaking. It's securely mounted as well, not missing any bolts. So that is our suspension system. The next thing that we're going to talk about is our braking system. I'm going to check my brake hose, my brake chamber, my slack adjuster and push rod, my cotter pins that are in there. I'm going to check my brake drum and my brake lining. My hose is not excuse me, it's not bent or cracked, no bubbles, cuts, or abrasions. The connections are secure. It's not leaking. My brake chamber is securely mounted. It's not missing any bolts. It's not bent, cracked, or broken. My slack adjuster, when I pull on it, it doesn't move more than 2 inches of play, and my cotter pins are in place. You never want to touch that when it's hot. It's securely mounted. My brake drum is secure. It's not bent, cracked, or broken. And my brake lining, the brake lining is not worn dangerously thin, and there are no contaminants such as dirt or grease which would cause brake failure. So that is my braking system. The next thing I'm going to do is move to my tire. I like to work from the inside or from the outside in. I'm going to check the tire tread with a tire gauge. You have to say gauge. With a tire gauge, I would make sure that the tire tread on the front tires is 4/32, no less than 4/32 of an inch. I would make sure also that the front tires are not recapped, regrooved, or retreaded, and they're not mismatched. They can be on the back tires. The back tires, I would also use the tire gauge, and they would measure no less than 2/32 of an inch. I'm going to check the outside of the tire walls to make sure that there's no steel thread showing, that there's nothing, no gouges or cracks in the tire, and then it's not leaking. I'm going to check the bead to make sure that it's not bent, and there's no leaks there. I'm going to check my wheel, that there's no illegal welds. The wheel cannot have any welds. It's not bent, cracked, or broken, and it's secure. I'm going to check my lug nuts to make sure that they're securely mounted, that they're all tight, that there's no excessive rust, and that I don't see any steel threads which would indicate looseness. They're not oblong or elongated. I'm going to then move to my hub seal. I'm going to make sure that it's securely mounted. All the bolts are tight. I'm going to make sure that it's not leaking. And then I'm going to move to my pressure valve stem. I'm going to make sure that it's securely mounted. The cap is on. And with a pressure gauge, you have to say pressure gauge. With a pressure gauge, I would check the tire pressure to make sure that the tires are between 90 and 98. That's what we do here at our bus lot. And it is not leaking. Okay, so I want to make sure that the tire pressure is accurate, or is up to the required amount. I'm going to also check, I'm going to let the instructor know that I'm going to check the suspension, braking system, and tires on that side of the bus, just as I've checked this, as well as the back of the bus. Awesome. So I'm going to lift this latch here. I'm going to shut my hood. I'm going to relatch the hood. And move on to the next section. So now I've completed my tires, rims, lug nuts, springs and airbags and shocks. Again, this bus is not equipped with airbags. my brake line, hoses and leaks, my brake contaminants. I've done my lenses and reflectors. Now to my traffic monitoring devices. Now I've already covered this, but now I want to talk about my outside traffic monitoring devices. Those are my cameras. This bus is not equipped with a backup camera. You need to make sure that you tell the instructor that. I'm going to check all the cameras on the bus on the outside to make sure that they're securely mounted. They're clean, not cracked or broken. There's no wires, and they're in working order. They're all around the bus, and I would check them exactly the same as I just checked this one. The next thing I'm going to check is my frame. So I've done my lenses and my reflectors, my traffic monitoring devices, and now I'm on this side, and I'm going to do my frame. I'm going to check to make sure that my frame is straight, that there's no broken welds on your frame. It's broken welds. It's securely mounted. Again, it's straight, and it is, my frame and cross members are all in good condition. Next is my fuel tank. I'm going to make sure that the door opens properly. This bus is a propane bus, so it does not have a cap. This bus also does not have DEF. You need to indicate that. Diesels, you would check it for DEF. I would make sure that the bus is, if it needs fuel, I would add fuel. I would make sure that I look and smell for leaks. There's no puddles underneath the bus, and I don't smell or hear any leaks on this. And the door closes properly. So I've done my frame, my fuel tank, my lenses and reflectors. I'm checking that off. The other camera is here and here. There's also one in the back of the bus, but we've already indicated that we checked those. The last thing we're going to check is our battery box. We're going to make sure that the door opens properly. We're going to check to make sure that our batteries are securely mounted, that they are not leaking, that the cables are securely mounted to the terminals and there's no excessive corrosion on the terminals, and that the door shuts properly. And that is our battery box. All right, so that concludes our pre-trip inspection. I believe that this is 4 videos total, and I will be doing another video on my phone which won't have any interruptions. So if you have any questions, just let us know. Have a great day.